many times. Like, she can make you cry just like listening to her, and she can also make you laugh. Her comic timing is like there are few who can match that. She's so special.
Congratulations, both of you. I mean, I've not watched it all the way through, but I watched 3 episodes of the show, and it is absolutely fantastic. So congratulations to both of you. So
Thank you.
before this interview, I was just reading up on everything, and this is a question from Mr. Buckley. Maybe did the was the idea to not make it a book at the outset? Was it always supposed to be a TV series in the beginning, which became a book later?
Yeah, I was working in television at the time. I had a couple deals like at MTV. I did some things for Nickelodeon. I was trying to make inroads in television with limited resources and important friends. So, yeah, the idea came to me, and I started shopping it to anybody who would take a meeting. And pretty much all of them said the same thing, that they really loved it, but they didn't see it as a show. They thought it was more of a book, which was very frustrating to me because I lived my life like undiagnosed ADHD for a really long time before I finally found a doctor that was like, "Your textbook, buddy." So the idea of like sitting down and writing a book was so daunting to me that it would make me angry when people suggested it. And it was only when I met my ex-wife that she sort of urged me to give it a try and said that she would help. And with her help and my editor at the time, who was Susan Van Meter, we managed to make 9 books out of this series. And but yeah, it was always meant to be a TV show in the beginning.
So, does an animated series do justice to the books? What do you guys think?
Well, I'll say that very few authors are thrilled with the adaptations of their books. But in this case, I am genuinely sincere that I'm very happy with this. It is exactly what I always hoped it could be, and I'm thrilled that Amy was able to shepherd it into something that I think is really magical and special, and worth other people's attention. And so yeah, I genuinely love it. Yeah.
I love it too. And we could talk about the entire voice cast because they're also fantastic. But Ariel Winter, I mean, she's a name that we have watched her grow up on Modern Family. What made her kind of the perfect voice for Sabrina? Would you guys say?
Well, I think when we first met her, if I recall, I don't think we went out to anybody else. I think we heard her and we were like, yeah, that's it. I'd worked at Disney before, so I was aware of her, and she was sort of like around a lot when I was doing Disney records. But her, I will say, in the booth, in the record booth, I was at every recording, and I probably cried many times. Like, she can make you cry just like listening to her, and she can also make you laugh. Her comic timing is like there are few who can match that. She's so special, and she also, her life has been a unique road. So she has a lot of the characteristics and the experiences of this girl. So I feel like, not just like her talent, but her like experience has been like very special to sort of contribute to this. I mean, she's exceptional in every single way. And, not to say that the rest of the cast is, Michael, I've said this a few times a day, is like, I did nothing. Like, I wrote a script, I put some words down, he made a book. That doesn't matter until it gets to these people who are just like so funny and so rich and textured. So they were, I mean, I want to just like speak out, like Billy Harris, who was in Ted Lasso. He plays Puck, and that's such a really hard character to be like to play that without just being like one note on that. He played it with such heart and with such, warmth and like a big arc to him. And I loved working with him. I loved working with Harry Trevaldman, who plays Mirror. He was sassy, like snotty, just great. That could go in a couple ways. You could get one note on that too, but he's like, they're all like comic geniuses, every single one of them. So we were very lucky. So thanks for mentioning.
Each one of them is a familiar character, but you guys have added your own, unique touches to each one of those characters. So I guess this question is twofold. This is in the realm of the Brothers Grimm, but Puck, I mean, you guys mentioned Puck comes from the world of Shakespeare. So why was he adopted into the world of fairy folk? And secondly, what are some of the unique touches that you guys might have added? Jack is British. I did not know Jack is British while I was reading the books as a child. So, what are some of the unique touches that you guys might have added that you're particularly proud of?
Right. I think the way you perceive the ever afters in the Sisters Grimm are that they've been around for hundreds of years, sometimes even thousands. And I'm not the same person I was 10 years ago. And that's how I started creating these characters, was like, what are who we are permanent, or do we change and evolve? And so, like, there's a character in the series who is the witch from the Hansel and Gretel story, who lives in the gingerbread house. Her name is Frau Pfeffer-Kuchenhausen. And, she's decided to go into dentistry because there's a lot of money in bad teeth. So there's like a practical nature of how you survive in a small town. And just because you can do magical things doesn't mean you don't have to pay the rent. And that was really how I perceived it. So there's some fun twists on the characters, but I think that they're all essentially the same character. Like, for instance, one of my favorite things about it is that this Snow White is a teacher, for an elementary school teacher, because she's really good with little people, and also she teaches a self-defense class to old ladies and children, and it's called the Bad Apples. And so there's always like a nice little tie back to what happened, but they've all evolved and changed, and sometimes they're quite different than how you might remember them.
And I think in terms of, like, Jack being English, like, all of these characters came from Europe. That's part of the conceit the Brothers Grimm brought them. So if they were going to speak English, they would have English accents. We made that choice that every ever after has an English accent, and we cast mostly in England.
Absolutely. I think I have 1 minute left. So the other part of my question, why go to Shakespeare for... yeah.
Well, I felt like that just using Brothers Grimm characters was a little too binding. There was just a wealth of children's characters through the generations that are considered fairy tales. So I just basically said, any character that is public domain and is associated with childhood is something I'm going to use. So, like, Captain Hook from Peter Pan shows up in the series, the Gingerbread Witch, even characters from it's striking me, but they're there's pirates, there's from Treasure Island in it. It's like anything associated with that. I just felt like kids would not want some kind of weird strict rule that we're only going to use Brothers Grimm stuff. They want to see Peter Pan flying over town, and they want to see all the stuff they grew up with.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I think I'm out of time, but I love the show. I'm sure everybody watching this episode will love the show as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.